There was a time when the stars themselves bowed to the will of humanity. Long before most races even knew how to break free from their planets, humans had already crossed galaxies. Their ships were not just metal, they were cathedrals of light, moving cities that carried millions across the void. They built towers on alien worlds, dug oceans on barren moons, and created suns where there was only darkness. To the young races who came after, humanity's empire would have seemed like magic. But those young races never saw it. For when they rose, humanity was already gone. Legends say that the humans rose too high, too fast. Some whispered they challenged the very fabric of the universe, trying to bend time and fate. Others claimed they fought a war against something so terrible no one could imagine it, and lost. A few even said that the humans simply chose to vanish, walking into the stars with secrets no other race could understand. Whatever the truth, the galaxy was left with silence. Worlds once shaped by human hands turned into ruins, swallowed by forests and oceans. Gigantic orbital stations drifted cold and empty. Entire libraries of their knowledge turned to dust. And so humanity became a story told in hushed voices, a myth, a warning, a dream. The Galactic Council, a gathering of species who came to rule after humans disappeared, recorded their name as the Ancients of Terra. But to most it was only a tale for children. If someone spoke of humans, listeners smiled politely and said, "Ah, the giants of legend," before turning away. For who could believe in a people who had bent galaxies to their will? Still, there were always whispers. The Andari philosophers told their students that humans would return when the stars grew dark. The Shillan priests lit candles each year for the lost titans of Terra. Even hardened soldiers in alien armies carried charms said to be made from human relics, for they believed the memory of humanity brought courage. Yet centuries turned to millennia. The myths grew faint, like smoke drifting into the void. The galaxy forgot, but not entirely. On the far edge of known space, in a forbidden system no one dared approach, there lay a single world. Blue and green beneath its cracked skies, it circled, an aging star. The council marked the sector as dangerous, haunted even, and wrote laws forbidding travel there. They said the radiation was deadly, the gravity unstable, the ruins cursed. But the truth was simpler. Every expedition sent to that place had vanished. The world was called Earth. There, beneath its oceans and mountains, secrets slept. Buried deeper than memory, older than empire, were vaults sealed by hands long turned to dust. In orbit drifted silent guardians, still watching after tens of thousands of years, and within the planet's heart burned something greater, something the humans had left behind. No one alive remembered it. No one alive could understand it. But the galaxy would soon learn that the humans had never truly been lost. They had only been waiting. And when the time came, when darkness spread across the stars and hope itself began to die, then the forbidden power of humanity would rise again. The galaxy was not a safe place. It had never truly been safe, but in this age, danger grew like a storm swallowing the stars. The Zir Dominion had risen. They were a species of war and conquest, their ships black as obsidian, their armies countless, their hearts cold. To the Zir, every world was a prize, every race a resource, and every voice that dared resist was silenced in chains. Planet by planet, system by system, they advanced. The proud Kalari fleets fell first. Their once glorious armadas burned until only embers remained. The gentle Vela, who sang songs that calmed storms on their homeworld, were enslaved in silence. Even the warrior-born Krotash, whose soldiers were feared across half the spiral arm, bent their knees under the weight of the Dominion's cruelty. The Galactic Council gathered again and again in their great chamber, voices filled not with strength, but with fear. Each new report carried worse news. Whole systems gone, colonies erased, allies vanished. The council, once so proud, now whispered like frightened children. "We cannot stop them," said one delegate, his voice shaking. "Our fleets are broken," another answered bitterly. "If they continue, all will fall," a third whispered, too weak to speak louder. Desperation hung heavy over them. For all their combined fleets, for all their wisdom and technology, the Dominion seemed unstoppable. Their weapons ripped through shields. Their strategies outmatched every defense. The galaxy itself seemed to shrink as more and more of it came under their shadow. And in that growing darkness, the whispers of old legends returned. The Shillan priest, her eyes dim with sorrow, stood in the chamber and spoke softly. There is one hope left, a name almost forgotten, the Ancients of Terra. The chamber grew quiet. Some scoffed, some shook their heads. Stories for children, one delegate muttered. A myth, another spat. Humanity is gone. We need reality, not ghost tales. But the priest's voice did not waver. If they are only a myth, then we are already dead. If they are real, perhaps their shadow is strong enough to break the Dominion. A silence followed. Even the proudest could not deny the truth. No fleet, no alliance, no weapon they had could turn the tide. If there was even the smallest chance that the humans had left something behind, then it had to be found. Eyes turned to the forbidden maps, to the black-marked sector no one dared enter. The system the Council had hidden for ages, the one with the cursed world, the home of the ancients, Earth. A decision was made in that chamber, heavy with fear, but burning with a small flame of hope. The Council would send an expedition, not of warriors alone but of seekers, scientists, diplomats, and soldiers, to uncover whatever secrets still lay in that forgotten place. Perhaps they would find only ruins, dust, and silence. Perhaps they would find nothing at all. But if there was even a fragment of truth in the stories, if even a spark of humanity remained, then maybe, just maybe, the galaxy could be saved. So ships were prepared. Crews were chosen, and into the darkness, across light years of fear, the expedition set out. As they left, an old counselor whispered words almost too soft to hear. Humans, if you are real, if you still watch from your silence, then rise, again. For without you, all is lost. Far away, in the cold system where Earth still circled its dying star, something stirred. Machines, long dormant, flickered faintly. Shadows deep beneath mountains shifted as if listening. The world that had been silent for 20,000 years seemed to wait. The galaxy's hope now rested not in strength, but in the ghosts of a forgotten past. The journey to the forbidden system was unlike any other. The expedition ships moved, in silence, their crews burdened with both fear and hope. They crossed star after star, leaving behind the safe lanes of the Council, traveling into a place where no one had dared to go for thousands of years. Even the bravest among them felt unease as they approached. The closer they came, the stranger the void became. The stars seemed dimmer. The darkness seemed heavier, pressing against the ships like a living thing. Systems flickered, engines groaned. Some whispered that the very space here carried the memory of ancient power. At last they arrived. Before them stretched a pale aging star, and around it turned several broken worlds. And there, the heart of the system, a blue and green planet scarred by time, Earth. From orbit, they could see continents cracked like shattered stone, oceans darker than night, and ruined cities half buried under forests. Enormous towers lay, broken, toppled into the seas. Whole regions were nothing but wastelands, scarred as if struck by fire from the heavens. And yet, even in ruin, Earth held an aura unlike any other world. "It feels alive," whispered a young pilot, his voice trembling. "It feels as if something is watching us," another murmured. Orbiting the planet, they discovered it. A vast station, so enormous it dwarfed their own ships. It drifted silently, but unlike the ruins below, it was not dead. Dim lights flickered across its surface. Strange signals pulsed from within, old but steady, as if keeping watch. The expedition's leaders debated. Some wanted to turn back, afraid of what they might awaken. Others, desperate to save the galaxy, demanded they continue. In the end, fear bowed to hope. They docked their ships and entered. Inside, the air was thin but breathable. Long halls stretched like veins through the metal body of the station. Walls hummed with energy, older than their civilizations. Symbols glowed faintly, strange, sharp, and elegant, the language of the ancients. No one could read them, but they felt their weight. Each mark seemed to speak of power, warning, and sorrow. The deeper they went, the stronger the pull became, as if the station itself was guiding them. At last, they reached a vast chamber sealed by colossal doors. Across them were etched warnings, not in one language but in dozens, languages of species that had never lived when humans thrived. Do not enter, do not awaken. This power is not for mortals. The explorers hesitated. Their hearts raced. Some whispered prayers. Yet despair pushed them forward. For if they turned away, the galaxy would burn. They unlocked the doors. With a roar that shook the walls, the chamber opened. A wave of light surged outward, forcing them to shield their eyes. When it dimmed, they saw it. At the center stood a colossal figure, half metal, half flesh, silent but alive. Its body was ancient yet untouched by time, armored in plates etched with human symbols. Its chest glowed faintly, a heart of energy that had not beaten in ages. Around it hung shattered tools, broken consoles, and the dust of forgotten centuries. The explorers froze. None dared speak. They had found it, the secret left by the ancients. A sentinel, a guardian. Then, with a sound like thunder, its eyes lit up. The station trembled as a deep, resonant voice filled the chamber. It was not the voice of a machine, but something older, greater, an echo of humanity itself. I am Guardian Prime, protector of Terra. Who dares disturb the slumber of humanity? The explorers fell to their knees. Some wept, some trembled. None could answer. The legends were true. Humanity had not been lost. They had been waiting. The explorers could barely breathe. The chamber seemed to shrink as the Guardian Prime's burning eyes swept across them. Its voice was not simply sound, it was weight, pressing against their chests, filling the room with a power that felt alive. You have broken the seals, it said, its tone steady, neither angry nor kind. Why? For a long moment, no one dared to speak. The silence was heavy, broken only by the hum of the ancient machine. Finally, one of the council envoys stepped forward, his voice trembling. The galaxy, it suffers. The Zir Dominion destroys everything. Our fleets are gone. Our people are dying. We came here because there is no hope left. The Guardian's gaze fixed on him, burning like twin suns. The Zir, it repeated, as if tasting the word. Yes. Another empire of chains. Another shadow across the stars. How little changes. The explorers exchanged uneasy glances. It spoke as though it had seen countless ages, countless wars. Another envoy, braver than most, raised her voice. The legends say humanity once stood against all threats. They say you could not be defeated, if there is even a fragment of that power left. Please, we beg you, help us, save us. For a long time, the Guardian was silent. Then, slowly, it lowered its massive head almost in sorrow. You ask for help, but you do not understand what you seek. Humanity left behind many things, but not without reason. The power I carry was never meant to be used again. The explorers stiffened. Fear and despair twisted inside them. Could it be that even here, even now, salvation was out of reach? But then the Guardian's chest glowed brighter. The light spread through its massive body, into the walls, into the floor, until the whole chamber thrummed with energy. Dust shook loose from the ceiling. Ancient circuits flared to life. And yet, the Guardian continued, its voice rising, humanity did not abandon the galaxy. We swore an oath that if darkness came again, if the stars cried out, we would rise once more. The explorers gasped as the floor beneath them shifted. Holographic maps filled the air. Vast networks of systems, hidden fleets, deep vaults buried across the solar system. Entire oceans lit up with shapes of sleeping leviathans. Mountains on Mars glowed with hidden fortresses. The ruins of Earth itself pulsed with buried hearts of light. The Guardian's voice thundered, "If you call upon the forbidden power, then humanity shall awaken. But know this, what rises cannot be undone. Once the machines march, once the engines burn, the galaxy will never be the same." Some explorers wept with relief. Others looked away in fear. For they understood. The legends had not lied. Humanity's power was real, but it was something far beyond their comprehension. The council envoy, tears in his eyes, whispered, "We accept. We have no choice. If we do nothing, we will all be slaves." The Guardian Prime's great head turned, its burning eyes softening for the first time. "So be it. You have chosen. Humanity will rise once more." The chamber shook violently. Across the system, long-dead machines stirred. On Earth, mountains split open, revealing titanic silos. From the depths of oceans, dark shapes rose, their hulls shining with ancient light. On the Moon and Mars, entire cities awakened, their forges burning after thousands of years of silence. The forbidden power had been unleashed. The explorers clung to the ground as the Guardian spread its arms, vast wings of energy unfolding from its back. The voice of humanity filled not just the chamber but the very air, the very stars. "Awake, children of Terra. The galaxy calls. The time has come." And far beyond, in distant corners of space, signals pulsed. Old codes, older than any living race, spread like fire across the void. One by one, hidden human war forms began to stir in forgotten places. The galaxy had asked for salvation. What it had unleashed was something far greater, something it could never again control. The galaxy had waited in silence for 20,000 years. Now that silence was broken. From the surface of Earth, ancient silos opened with a roar like the birth of volcanoes. Oceans split apart as titanic shapes rose, their hulls gleaming with light that had slept for millennia. From the Moon, entire foundries awakened, spewing fire into the void as colossal machines lifted from craters that had been cold for ages. On Mars, mountains shook and cracked, revealing cities buried deep within, their forges burning bright once more. The explorers could only watch in awe. Their ships trembled as waves of energy surged across the system, stronger than any technology they had ever known. These were not ordinary weapons. They were living engines of war, created by the will of humanity itself. Each ship that rose carried more than steel and power. Inside their cores pulsed something stranger. Voices. Not the voices of crews, for there were none, but echoes of humanity itself. The laughter of children, the courage of soldiers, the songs of poets, all were woven into the machines. Humanity had not left behind empty shells. They had left behind their very spirit. The Guardian Prime stood at the heart of it all, glowing, brighter than a star. Its voice carried across every channel, heard not only by the explorers but by every living creature in the system. "We are humanity. Though flesh has turned to dust, our fire remains. The forbidden power is not death, but memory made eternal. We rise again, not for conquest but for protection. If you call us, we will fight. If you stand with us, we will endure. But beware, what is unleashed cannot return to silence." The words spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, fleets picked up the transmissions. On council worlds, people wept openly. The enslaved races of the Zir Dominion listened in secret, hearts pounding with sudden hope. Even the Dominion itself heard, and for the first time, their leaders knew fear. The first of the war forms moved. A dreadnought so vast, it dwarfed cities, broke free from Earth's orbit. Its hull shone with rivers of light, each line carrying the memories of 1,000,000 human voices. When it spoke, the stars trembled. Designation, Colossus of Terra. Directive, liberation. Then came another. From the depths of Earth's seas rose a Leviathan ship, its hull dripping with salt water that boiled away in the void. Its voice thundered across the system. Designation, Ocean's Wrath. Directive: break the chains. One after another they awoke, ships named for storms, for mountains, for fire, for hope. Each one a monument of human will, a living song of defiance. Together, they formed a fleet the galaxy had never imagined. The explorers stood frozen in their stations. Tears ran down their faces. This was not just power, it was something sacred. It was the return of a people who had refused to be erased by time. Yet not all were at peace. Some whispered in fear. What if this power was too great? What if it turned against them? The legends had called it forbidden for a reason. The Guardian Prime answered their unspoken fears. Do not mistake our strength for cruelty. We are not here to rule. We are here to remind. The galaxy has forgotten courage. The galaxy has forgotten freedom. We will teach it again. Then the fleet began to move, engines burning with a light that outshone the stars. Their course was set, toward the war front, where the Zir Dominion's endless fleet spread terror. The galaxy trembled as the forbidden power of humanity left its cradle. Some called it salvation, some called it doom, but all knew this truth: humanity had returned, and nothing would ever be the same again. The news spread faster than light. Across the spiral arms, every world heard the same message: humanity had returned. The voices of their war forms echoed through space, a song of defiance, carried on ancient frequencies. For the enslaved, it was hope. For the free, it was a miracle. For the Zir Dominion, it was a nightmare. The Dominion had ruled for centuries without fear. Their fleets were vast, their armies endless, their cruelty unmatched. Yet when reports came that titanic machines had risen from a dead world, their leaders laughed at first. Ghost stories, they sneered. Empty machines. They will crumble like all the rest. So they gathered their greatest armada, thousands of ships, black and sharp, moving like a swarm of blades through the void. The stars dimmed under their numbers. They went to crush the humans, to erase the legends forever, but the humans were waiting. At the edge of a dying system, the two forces met. On one side, the Dominion's endless fleet. On the other, the awakened war forms of Terra, glowing with light, their hulls alive with voices. Between them lay silence. Then, the silence broke. The first strike came from the Colossus of Terra. Its weapons roared, not like simple cannons but like pieces of a star itself being hurled across space. 100 Dominion warships vanished in an instant, torn apart before they could fire. The Dominion responded with fury. Beams of dark energy lashed out, slamming into the human dreadnoughts. But where any other fleet would have cracked, the warforms stood unshaken. Their hulls pulsed with living light, healing faster than they could be broken. Then the ocean's wrath surged forward. From its vast hull poured torrents of plasma, boiling seas of fire that drowned the Dominion squadrons. Entire wings of enemy craft disappeared in the storm. The galaxy had never seen weapons like these, fusions of science and spirit, machines carrying the very will of a vanished people. All across the battlefield, the human war forms sang. Not words, but memories. Songs of hope, of loss, of courage, of love. The enslaved species listening from afar wept openly. They heard children laughing between volleys of fire. They heard soldiers chanting as they marched. They heard mothers whispering lullabies as weapons shattered the dark. Humanity fought not with silence but with its soul. The Dominion faltered. For the first time in their long reign, they felt fear. Their ships broke formation. Their admirals screamed orders. But nothing could stop the advance. The Guardian Prime led from the front, its burning wings cleaving through entire fleets, its voice thundering across the stars. No more chains, no more fear. This galaxy shall be free. The enslaved worlds rose when they saw it. On planet after planet, shackles were broken. Slaves picked up arms against their masters. Hidden rebels launched uprisings, hearts strengthened by the vision of humanity's return. The Dominion's power fractured, crumbling under both the war forms and the fire of rebellion. But the cost was great. Some human war forms fell, their voices dimming as they sacrificed themselves to shield others. Each loss was like a star going out, yet even in death they burned with glory, destroying hundreds of enemies in their final blaze. At last, after days of fire, the Dominion's flagship was cornered. The Colossus of Terra faced it alone. The enemy vessel unleashed every weapon it had, tearing through void and flame, but the Colossus did not retreat. With a final cry that echoed across the galaxy, it drove forward and unleashed all its power. The Dominion flagship was shattered. The war was broken. Silence followed, heavy and endless. Then slowly voices rose, not of humans, but of countless races across the stars. Cheers, cries, songs. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy was free. The humans had not returned, in flesh, but in spirit. They had saved them all. The war was over. The Zir Dominion lay broken, its fleets scattered, its chains shattered. Across the galaxy, the enslaved races lifted their heads and breathed free air for the first time in centuries. Songs rose from world to world, songs of defiance, of hope, and of gratitude, and always those songs carried a single name: humanity. The awakened warforms drifted in orbit above liberated stars, their vast hulls glowing softly, like guardians watching from the heavens. They had fought with fire and sorrow, with memory and song, and they had won. Yet now in the silence that followed, questions filled the hearts of those who lived. Would the humans stay? Would they rebuild their empire? Would they rule once more? The Council sent envoys, their ships small and fragile beside the Titans of Terra. They carried gifts, words of loyalty, even offers to surrender authority. Lead us, they begged. Guide us. Show us how to walk as you once did. The Guardian, Prime, stood among the stars, its wings of light folded, its eyes glowing like suns. When it spoke, every living being in the galaxy heard its voice. We are not here to rule. We are not here to command. We came because you called. We came because darkness sought to drown you, and you reached for light. Our purpose is fulfilled. The Council delegates trembled. Some wept. One cried out, "But we need you. Without you, we will fall again." The Guardian's voice softened, filled with sorrow and pride. You are stronger than you believe. Humanity did not rise to conquer the galaxy. We rose to remind it what it means to stand. That fire is not ours alone. It belongs to all who dare to fight for freedom. As the envoy ships listened, the war forms around them began to dim. Their glowing cores softened, their vast weapons quieted. One by one they turned toward their cradle world. On Earth, mountains closed over silos once more. In the oceans, leviathans sank back into the deep. The foundries on Mars fell silent, their flames dying until they were only embers. Humanity's forbidden power was returning to sleep. Panic rippled through the Council ships. No, don't, leave us, voices cried. But the Guardian Prime raised a hand vast and calm. We are never truly gone. We are written into the stars, into the ruins, into the memory of every world we touched. And one day, when the time is right, when flesh and blood humans rise again, they will walk among you once more. Until then, carry the fire we have shown. You, stand tall, protect each other, live. The galaxy wept. Even hardened warriors felt tears on their cheeks. They had called to the past for salvation, and it had come, not as rulers, not as masters, but as guardians who reminded them of their own strength. The Guardian Prime spread its radiant wings one last time. Its voice thundered across the spiral, arms not as command, but as a promise. Remember humanity, not as gods, not as myths, but as a people who refuse to die. Remember, and become greater than us. With that, the light faded. The Guardian Prime returned to the silent station, orbiting Earth. The warforms sank back into their hidden places. And once again the cradle of Terra fell quiet, its secret sealed beneath oceans, mountains, and dust. But the galaxy was forever changed. Children on distant worlds whispered human names in wonder. Priests lit candles for Terra. Soldiers painted human symbols on their armor for courage. And everywhere the story spread, that when hope was gone, when all light had faded, the lost humans had returned, carrying the fire of freedom. They had shown the galaxy that courage is eternal, that freedom is worth any cost, that legends can live again. Humanity was silent once more, but it was no longer forgotten, and in the hearts of countless beings across the stars, one truth burned like a star that could never fade. Ancient humanity was lost, until the forbidden power was unleashed.